Welcome to Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta, for the final race of the Radical Cup North America Series here in Georgia. My name is Tom Drewer. I'm joined once again by Mike Anzaldi in the booth. And Mike, a little bit drier around this circuit this morning.
Tom, it's been a quick weekend, but a dramatic weekend. And yeah, this morning we start the race out dry, whereas yesterday we were wet all day long, both races soaked.
You can see there's still a little bit of cloud and some weather coming in, but hopefully the blue dot in the middle of that radar screen will stay without any precipitation over it. The track is dry, but only just, certainly on the way to the circuit this morning. We definitely had some moisture on the ground. The cars are rolling, so we'll take you through the grid perhaps. And right at the back of the grid for this one, it's Wayne Williams. He'll start from 22nd. Of course, Wayne struck disaster in race one. He'll start alongside Omar Balkazoon.
Big nod to One Motorsports getting that car back together.
Absolutely. Chip Roma also with some work to do in the Platinum class. He'll start alongside Aaron Ziegler for Team Stradale, who I believe has had an engine change overnight. On 18th on the grid, Jack Yang, another one to have a little bit of a day to forget yesterday, finding the wall in turn 12. Jack will start alongside Sam McDougall, who also found the wall down in the S's. Got to say, though, Sam was looking extremely racy. It'll be fun to watch those two carve their way through the field. Brian George will start from 16th alongside Dermot Ennis, who returns to the championship, and Ennis with a podium yesterday. From 14th on the grid, Pete Folger has made a strong debut. David Mason's also had a good weekend with a podium result in the gold class. And then from 12th on the grid, it's Mike D'Ambrose, who's shared a win yesterday with Nico Balkazoon, our youngest ever Radical Cup winner. He turns 14 on Monday. From 10th on the grid, it's Steve Jenks. Alongside him will be Dennis Kelly, both out of the Group A racing stable in New York. From the fourth row of the grid, it's Valen Venkatesh, who was the Sunoco hard charger in yesterday afternoon's race. He'll start alongside Josh Holtz, who was also looking spectacular until the wet weather caught him out late in the race. From the third row of the grid, it's Chris Hoon, who'll start from the sixth. He was our pole man in the gold class, and Matt Roma will start from fifth. From fourth, it's Judd Miller, who was second quickest in the Platinum class. Luke Kendall will start from third. And Robert Rossi shares the front row of the grid with Jonas Axbo. It's not a Platinum class on the pole. It's a Pro 1500, and the young gun has been tremendously quick. So here they are. The cars are starting to line up side by side. Some stragglers at the back will have to hurry up, including Mike D'Ambrose.
Oh, wow. And look at all the cars that are coming in this 10 still.
Yeah.
We are green, folks. We're green.
We are green. And Robert Rossi has taken the lead immediately. Some people a bit slow to react this morning, perhaps thinking there was going to be a second pace lap. There was only one.
Jug Miller went with. Jug Miller in third place. He went in front of Kendall.
So, the big news, though, is I think Jonas Axbo has been able to convert a solid front row start into a lead. And look at that. His main rival for the championship, Luke Kendall, with a car between himself, and that's Judd Miller and his rivals. So, Judd Miller, fantastic move there. That was Matt Roma. Yeah, great stuff from Matt Roma, getting one over on Luke Kendall.
Looks like a car into the pits. That's Aaron Ziegler, new engine, as you mentioned.
More action, and that's Sam McDougall carving his way up through the field into turn 6. And so Sam with a spectacular start, but drivers with some work to do as we also ride on board there on the left-hand side of the screen, and that is with Matt Roma.
Tom, I think that we're going to hear some complaining about that start from teams. They're going to have something to say about that, but we are racing.
Well, race control, we heard it on the radio. They said there was only going to be one pace lap. It was made very crystal clear. So whether that message didn't get through to the drivers, as we've got three wide action down into turn 10 and side by side again through 10B.
Matt Romer now. P 2 overall.
Oh, we've got a spin too, and I think that was Chip Roma who spun. No, it looks to me.
Is that Jack?
Yeah, possibly Jack Yang, who's had a spin between 10A and 10B and hasn't refired that card just yet. Wayne Williams still trying to come back up through the field. So there's Matt Roma, very aggressive off the start and ahead, as you mentioned, of Luke Kendall.
In front of Kendall and Jenks. Watch for Jenks to start making some moves here. He's going to need to be moving forward.
The other thing that's occurred is that Jonas Expo now is right up behind the Hewland gearbox of that SR10 machine of Judd Miller. Miller doing a good job to get behind Robert Rossi on the racetrack, but is effectively holding Jonas Expo up. So it's Matt Roma who's second place in the Pro 1500 from Luke Kendall. Then it's back to Steve Jenks, who sits third in the Platinum class. Chris Hoon leads the Gold class. Dennis Kelly sitting second. Pete Folger's done a sterling job at the start of this one. And Mike Dambrose in the lead of Pro 1340. What can young Balkazoon do this morning?
We'll be watching that one very closely. Love the battle in 1340. Also watching Jenks make a move on Romer now in the P4 overall, P3 in the Platinum class.
So Steve Jenks looking much racier this morning on the dry circuit. Admitted yesterday he wasn't having fun in the wet conditions. Steve Jenks was super quick at Road America. In fact, won a couple of races there. Steve Jenks knows how to wheel an SR10 in the dry conditions, that's for sure. And wow, you can see that Josh Holtz using all the exit of turn one, pushing hard for Crown Concepts. There's Josh coming through shot and just setting himself up for these high-speed S's, absolutely flat out in the dry conditions.
A little wiggle there for Venkatesh going through 5. And that's going to be Holt's next target.
So Venkatesh obviously getting told on the radio, a bit of a hurry up. Phelan Venkatesh was the hard charger in yesterday afternoon's race. And so there's no doubt both those drivers were pushing hard and wanting to really continue on their form from yesterday.
Venkatesh and Holtz both have a Hoon to deal with. They're in the way before they're able to make it back to Kendall, who represents the third step of the podium at the moment.
And it looks like
that's a nice run.
Yeah, very good run. And I think that was Matt Roma, Luke Kendall. So it is. So Luke Kendall attacking back towards Matt Roma and closing in as they head down the final corner and onto the front straightaway. Luke Kendall, can he get a run? Is he close enough? We'll find out. He sort of starts to have a look and has a pop to the inside, but I don't think it's going to be enough. That was a pretty late lunge, and it's not. So Matt Roma lives to fight another day, but Luke Kendall looking extremely aggressive as they head up to turn 3. That's also allowed. That's Venkatesh who's starting to claw his way, or Chris Hoon rather, that's starting to claw his way onto the back of this train. It'll be Venkatesh next, then it is Josh Holtz, and again, Luke Kendall looking to make amends for a spectacular pass that Matt Roma made a couple laps earlier.
That is a meaty race going on there. That is P5, 6, 7, and 8. And right now, that seems to be the battle on track that is most interesting at this moment in time.
The fog is rather thick still at Road Atlanta. In fact, we're struggling to see out of the commentary booth windows. The condensation on the windows, there's still lots of moisture around. You can see it on the side of the circuit. You can't afford to drop a wheel.
Luke and Matt looking like they're kind of going side by side-ish, heading into 10 with our drone shot here. Luke has got a really nice run through 10B. This is going to be a situation.
Roma compromised. Luke tries to capitalize down into the final corner, and he does it side by side and with a better run out of 10B.
And it's a
Luke
drag
Kendall,
race.
wow, and look how Matt Roma comes back. Is Matt running less downforce on that car, the rear wing perhaps, providing less drag, but certainly the One Motorsports car looking ultra quick in a straight line. That's allowed Chris Hoon, who's the leader in the gold class, to close in on those two who are fighting for second place in Pro 1500. Meanwhile, Jonas Expo just cruising. in the lead of that class, and drivers starting to use more and more of the exit curb of turn 5. You can see a little bit of the jab rocks being burnt off underneath the car. Perhaps a bit of fiberglass too, carbon fiber. A lot of these cars running the carbon fiber front splitters and rear diffusers.
Just a bit of business
we've
here.
got someone off wide, and they're going to tag the wall,
they did touch it.
So turn 7, it can happen. It's easy to carry a bit too much speed into the first part of that corner. You run out of road, all of a sudden you've got too much steering lock on as you hit the curb. Of course, in these conditions, it unloads.
Is that Josh?
And that is Josh Holt. So again, the tricky conditions have...
He's really been letting it hang out, Josh. He's been picking up the pace in the last couple of weekends, especially this weekend. Had a really nice race, too, yesterday. Finds the wall at 7. That is disaster.
And I tell you what, that was pretty awesome stuff, too. It was
McDougall on
Chip Romer.
On Romer.
And Chip Romer was stretching the legs of the SR10. As you can see, Wayne Williams now honing in on the back of Chip Romer, and that's why Romer was keen to get past Sam McDougall, because Wayne Williams, that Dayglow SR10, is starting to feel the mirrors of his teammate in the Stella Artois car. And I'll tell you what, Chip Romer might need a cold beverage or two after this one. He's hustling hard.
He is hustling hard. Spoke with him yesterday. He hates the rain. So yesterday was just a miserable day for him. I think he's probably a lot happier to be back on dry weather tires.
And speaking to people, caught up with Josh Holtz's dad in the hospitality suite before this one, and Dad was proud of son yesterday. You know, it was unfortunate that he'd had the mishap in the wet conditions, but was much happier that his son had a go rather than a young, again, starting his career in Radical Cup racing. Josh Holtz has looked very impressive, and I'm sure we're going to see Holtz perhaps with bigger efforts at Lime Rock and, of course, at Kota. So the Crown Crew just having a look at the car, but it does look like the...
Yeah, back wings folded up.
Yeah, the rear wing folded up, and that's game over.
Stewards will not let that car re-enter the racetrack for sure.
It also looks like the rear bodywork is all kinked on that car, so the left rear and the right rear have taken a bit of a lick as the car turned around on the barrier.
Tough times for Josh.
So we're riding on board with Matt Romer,
might be
Chip Romer at the moment, going through the S's and working hard at the wheel of that SR10 over the curb at turn 5. Not too much today. And then heading down into this banked turn 6.
Ziegler pulling back into the pits for the second time. Remember, he had an engine change last night. Something's not working right.
Yeah. Now, we haven't mentioned that this race features mandatory pit stops, but Ziegler in well before the pit stop window. That is coming up in around about 5 minutes. So in theory, 15 minutes into the race, Charlie Kimball, the race director, former IndyCar star, will confirm to the teams that the pit window has opened. There will be a board that goes up at the start-finish line.
Frustrating moment for Stradale, who spent quite a bit of the night swapping out engines in that Desi there for the 14 car, and they are stricken and will no longer compete, at least the way it looks at the moment. That car is still in pit lane, a couple of laps down. But Luke Kendall is still doing well to hold his position there. Matt Romer is now dealing with traffic. He's got Chris Hoon behind. Expo, Kendall, Romer still represent the top 3 in Pro 1500.
So, certain drivers just settling into their rhythm as a couple of battles continue to rage. And coming down the back straight.
And that's Hoon, who is all over the back of Matt Romer at the moment.
Yeah, Matt Romer. So Kendall, after finally dispatching...
Ooh, look at Hoon is going to have a look.
Yeah, and Hoon with some straight line speed as well.
That is a fast car.
The draft pretty strong.
Yeah,
now,
Matt not really making a challenge there. He's going to let him go and try to get him back in the first sector. Maybe Chris has got a fast third sector car. Maybe he's got a slower first sector car.
So the Pro 1500s and Gold Class, both featuring the same SR3, powered by the 1500cc variant of the 4-cylinder motorcycle drive engine, completely rebuilt by Radical. There's not much left of that core block.
Yeah, this is a really nice moment for Chris Hoon, an older gentleman like myself, later in life, competing in the Gold Class, but by merit on the podium, theoretically in the Pro 1500 class.
So around about 3 minutes until that pit window, just under 3 minutes until the pit window opens. Hopefully the green flag will continue to fly around this racetrack.
And Matt Romer, not being a heavy ego guy, knows that he's not really racing Chris Hoon. He's racing Valen Venkatesh 6 seconds behind.
Well, and he needs to keep clean, doesn't he? There's no point fighting Chris Hoon. He'll just lose time to Venkatesh, who is charging up. So we'll keep an eye on that gap at the moment.
Hoon, Romer, and that's Venkatesh right there. So that race is right in front of Valen.
So what can Venkatesh do? Cameron Racing, known for pit stops in this series. Steve Cameron with a lot of experience in IMSA competition. And Steve Cameron and Anthony Ward, a formidable partnership when it comes to Radical Northwest, the dealership based out at Sonoma Raceway.
Well, whether it's Nick Perzing or Jonas Axbo, they have had a nice little run here, Radical Northwest, in the last couple of years.
Yeah, not only that, would you believe, 5 years in a row, Dealer of the Year for Radical. In fact, the highest selling Radical dealership anywhere in the world. And this year, Dealer of the Year jointly went to them, as well as Team Stradale, based at Autobahn Country Club, your home track, Mike.
Yep. Anthony Ward, nice guy to deal with out there in California to buy a Radical from. Spoke with him many, many times, and lovely gent.
So here we are. This is more action, and that's Jack Yang closing in for a pass down the front straight. Has popped early and dives aggressively to the inside. So Yang goes through. So that was Yang on Peter Folger as Yang tries to carve his way back up into the mix of the Pro 1500s. Sam McDougall's also continuing to rise through the timing charts. And Sam sits 12th overall at the moment. Still a bit of work to do if Sam wants to get onto the back of Valen Venkatesh and the likes of Matt Romer. Chip Romer sits in between Wayne Williams, Dennis Kelly too. Kelly sits second in the Gold Class at the moment. A strong weekend for Dennis Kelly.
For sure, and Rossi is actually now starting to catch some back markers. So 15 minutes in, we're already looking at lap traffic, and the pit window is going to be open in just a few seconds' time. So I think that this next time around, cars are available as the starter stand now holds.
Preparing it.
Yeah.
So the starters stand preparing the sign. And the pit window is now open. So who will be the first to pit? Who will blink first? Jack Yang is the first to see the sign. You don't need to see the sign to come into the pit lane, but the teams will be on the radio. Of course, at Road Atlanta with that hill, some of the radio communications not particularly clear on the backside of the circuit, and someone has dived into the pit lane. We'll just wait and pick that up. Oh, more side-by-side action through the S's, and so the back markers are playing a role in this motor race as well, as we just watched Mike D'Ambrose come through in the multicolored car, a sort of rainbow effect on car 60, and that's your leader in, it's Omar Balkazoon, D'Ambrose's rival in the 333, stationary for a pit stop.
45 seconds is the to that we're looking for here.
So just a check of the belts. It's going to feel like eternity to Omar, of course, Nico Balkazoon's father. Pretty proud dad watching his son on the podium.
Mom and dad both in attendance. This one, dad supporting his son, but from the front seat of a Gold Class XXR.
So a slight slip of the tongue for me just then was Omar Balkazoon, of course. That is not Mike D'Ambrose's nearest rival. That'd be the son, Nico Balkazoon, and Nico has not pitted yet. So drivers have to determine whether they can do the undercut or whether staying out longer is better. Of course, if it goes full course caution, the pit lane will stay open.
And that is a pass for position there. It is Steve Jenks on Miller.
Yeah, jump Miller.
Yeah, heading in toward turn 12. Miller dives into the pit.
And look at this, more side-by-side action down into the final corner.
That's Mason on this.
Yeah, Mason on Ennis as more cars dive into the pit lane.
Oh, wow.
And Robert Rossi
action.
coming into his box.
That's Nico Balkazoon. And that's your race leader right there. The 611 car, Robert Rossi. 2 wins so far this weekend.
So Steve Jenks in the lead of the race overall in the 86 machine. That's now the son. So this is nearest rival to who?
Mike D'Ambrose.
Mike D'Ambrose, who's leading in Pro 1340. Mike D'Ambrose 3 times as old as Nico Balkazoon. Not that that seems to matter. I think Radical Cup proves that, doesn't it? That
well, John Field will prove that, won't he?
Look, I think, you know, dare I say, Mark Anzaldi proves that too.
Yeah, 50-year-olds, sure, yeah. The age is just a number, Tom. That's what I keep hearing people say.
Well, it certainly will be interesting to see what the strategy is. Can anyone get lucky with a spate of yellow?
Mm-hmm. Or a bobble in pit lane, or, you know, this is partly why race 3 is so exciting in the Radical Cup. We do a pit stop. Nothing really happens during the pit stop. You can change pressures, you can do some things, but ultimately we want to get the cars into the pit and get them out as a test of how well the team can operate.
And this is also a good test to the driver. Of course, the idea of doing a solid in-lap, hitting the marks, a pit lane, and then getting it right on the out-lap. When you're not in your rhythm, when you're not on the right line coming into and out of turn 1.
And speaking of, I think in the last lap, Steve Jenks put down the fastest lap of the race. Taking your advice, he enters the pits as the Platinum leader. He's ready to go. Off he goes.
You can see he was pretty keen to get going as well. So Steve Jenks out, and we've got a car now stopped at turn 2, so this could bring out a full course caution. And we've had an accident.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've got a car with left-hand damage. Hopefully we'll get a better shot of that. Hopefully.
Is that possibly Luke Kendall?
Kendall is still shown on the timing screen. Hopefully we can just pan over and get a better shot of that, or maybe from the drone. It's full course caution. And so now, who hasn't pitted? Who can capitalize? They'll be able to come through pit lane, and drivers are in. So the safety car stands up. This is the tough thing now will be for race control to pick up the leader, but this could give plenty of drivers a big opportunity. Sam McDougall is in the pits under the full course caution. A number of drivers will come in.
And Tom, this is, if that is in fact Luke Kendall, we think that it is. This is disaster.
You're right. Luke Kendall now dropping down the order, stopped next to Luke's name, and poor Luke Kendall.
That is awful for his championship hopes here.
So the safety car has remained. The safety car is now picking up cars.
And that is your overall race leader right now. That's Jonas Axbo into the pits underneath the safety car. Matt Romer now enters the pit.
So the safety car coming out to neutralize the field. I think the safety car is going to pick up whomever they can at this point. The rest of the cars are going to trundle through pit lane undoubtedly. We can see emergency cars on the track as well. So the white flag out for those.
Oh, wow.
The trick is going to be people getting into lane.
So D'Ambrose should not be the one that is right behind the safety car. So, of course.
But has he pitted? That's the question now.
He does.
And the safety car now waving the cars through.
Okay, and there's Rossi now. Rossi won't go through, so he retakes potentially the lead, or will they have X? Okay.
Yeah, so I think Axpo is going to come into the pit lane. There's a few others that will come in as well.
Yeah, so
And
that is
so
the
Robert
true leader.
Rossi is effectively the true leader. So race control and timing of scoring doing a good job of.
And look at Wayne Williams. This has been a really big situation for him. Now he is right back behind Chip Romer, and definitely, in a position where he can battle Romer and then head up to Miller to look for that third spot on the Platinum podium.
So, race director's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
A full course caution in the middle of the pit window, but it certainly made things exciting for us.
Dermot
the
Ennis.
88 of Dermot Ennis is in.
Derm's returned to the series this weekend after a few weekends off. Had a full season last year in the Cup. He plans to make down to Austin, Texas, and COTA toward the end of the season.
And quite animated was Dermot there. I think being asked just whether he wanted any changes, and the big shake of the head saying, no, I'm fine. Yeah, just let me get back out there.
Right. So Rossi will be keen to keep his tires warm because now things have heated up. Jenks right behind and Miller right behind Axpo. So,
well, I'm amazed. Obviously, Luke Kendall, a big moment for him. You can see that they're picking up debris from near the catch fence. The car not in the best of state, but Luke Kendall was going for hopefully his first win today. Luke is second in the points. In fact, we were just commenting that really for Luke, he needed something like that to occur to Jonas Axpo.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't wish anything like that for anyone, but just in terms of the points, Axpo has been doing a tremendous job of gaining win after win after win, collecting maximum points. Kendall, a solid job recently, a spate of second places, but just hasn't been able to find a win. Was probably unlucky at Sonoma not to do so, right in the second round of the championship. But perhaps just trying to extract a little bit more than the conditions in the car would warrant, as he's tried
math,
to gain,
isn't it? Right? I mean,
points back.
You're trying to operate this points situation, and it just comes down to not wishing ill on your.
So Joey Martin just overseeing the Crown Concepts team as they were just checking over the car, making sure all the latches were still in place and just ensuring that the car was a-okay, worthwhile doing in the pit stop. Joey Martin and Curtis Brown running a tight ship at Crown Concepts, dealer in Arizona.
Yeah, and just to finish the thought on Kendall and Axpo, it's if you have a DNF, you got to have your competitor to at least have something along those lines.
The only upside, if you will, or the way to look at this glass half full for Luke Kendall is that he did start the race. So he'll get the starter's points. He'll get a base load of points, if you like. So it's not like, say, other series where if you don't finish the race, you get 0 points.
And will he be classified P last?
Correct.
Class.
So that's
so whatever the points that you get for
whatever last place points were, he will get, and so for him it won't affect him too much.
At least not in the way that a D and S. Like if you don't start the race, you're in really big trouble. But So ultimately, he's actually going to need Axpo to have to be struck with some sort of negative sort of luck in the second half of the season here, because right now that points spread is growing.
So there's Wayne Williams, Roma, further back in the actual pack, and a few back markers mixed into the thick of things. I'm keen to see a shot of the. Here we go. So Robert Rossi has got one out-of-class car between himself and Steve Jenks. Steve Jenks, that will be a good sight. The pit window is now closing.
I wonder if it's worth mentioning Williams and Romer. Now, early in this yellow flag, Romer was in front of Wayne Williams. It doesn't seem to be an argument right now. They're not kind of battling between those positions, and so maybe that is correct. But there's at least some
question mark.
About whether or not that was.
So look at that. Wayne Williams has made up 14 positions so far. Chip Romer's the one with the second most passes today, up 11. Of course, both of them starting towards the back of the grid. Sam McDougall up 7. That's actually quite impressive for Sam. Good recovery drive for Sam. And Jack Yang's also been working up the field. Steve Jenks, though, finds himself second in class. Can now see the gearbox of Robert Rossi. It's going to grow green next time by. It's going to be important for Steve Jenks to dispatch the person that sits second in the queue there. And I believe that will be Pete Folger, who's going to have some wide eyes, I think, as a number of Platinum class cars are going to storm their way through. Valen Venkatesh and Matt Romer might have to keep eyes up as well.
Well, once all those pit stops have been done and organized, look at the Pro 1340 class in P2. That is currently Dermot Ennis.
Yeah, he really capitalized on coming in just as the as that full course caution was occurring.
So as we go green, what are we going to look for here, Tom? You got Rossi and Jenks up front.
Yeah, let's see how Matt Romer, Valen Venkatesh, how that shakes out for 2 and 3. We've got a possible pass under yellow, which is being reported for car 20. So that's Ryan George, a newcomer to the championship. It might be a tough lesson for him today. But I think it's going to be at the front of the field. And also, if you're watching trackside, the Dayglow car of Wayne Williams and the car just behind, the Stella Artois number 5 of Chip Romer, they are going to be storming up through the field. Nico Balkazoon needs to make amends here. Mike Dambrose is going to get another one up on the young gun. Balkazoon stopped early, if you recall, and therefore didn't get the benefit of pitting under full course caution. But here we go. And you can already see Steve Jenks is going to be waiting to hear the green flag fly. Jenks already pops to the inside. Pete Folger, Jenks has to be careful. And look at the lead that Robert Rossi's got going down the front straight.
Miller is all over the back of Jenks. But Jenks has it into turn 1. Oh, man.
Wayne Williams pulling out as well, trying to clear and dispatch a number of the Pro 1500 and Gold Class cars. They come up to turn 3, side by side. That's a tricky place to be.
Over the apex curve.
Fantastic racing as Wayne Williams now around the outside. So Folger falls back through the pack. Wayne Williams carving his way through, doing a better job so far than Chip Romer, it would appear.
Expo all over the back of Judd Miller, leading the Pro 1500 class.
And so it's Rossi who's stretched his legs. The benefit of being at the front at a restart.
Is that Williams on whom?
Oh, and we've got a spin at the exit of John, another one too. So turn 7.
At least 2 cars.
Yeah, 2 cars, and I think there's a third. There's a third or fourth. So a partial track blockage at the exit of turn 7. 3 cars still involved in that.
And immediately
and a full course caution.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, that is disappointing with only 9.5 minutes to go. Would love to see 9 minutes of green flag racing, but a big incident in turn 7 will bring us back under safety car.
Well, can they quickly clear these cars? Because now we've got, look at that. Line astern, the top 4 are all Platinum class. Wayne Williams, you got to think he'd have a crack if we get a restart.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and Judd Miller will know that Wayne Williams would be keen to get by him at any point during this restart.
So the 88 comes into pit lane. Disaster for Dermot Ennis. He was sitting second in the Pro 1340 class. The crew goes to work. Now,
that was Mason too. Mason took a big bend.
Yeah, so the question is, with some of these pit stops and when it comes to a couple of these drivers going a lap down, it might be possible for Dermot Ennis to still get back out and not go a lap down.
All right,
So
come
to
on,
be,
Derm.
oh, look at this. So now we get a shot. So Jack Yang's involved.
Oh, is that Valen Venkatesh? Yes. And McDougall.
And McDougall.
Oh wow, that's the most of the 1500 class.
McDougall looking absolutely dejected and
ripping the gloves off. Oh, he doesn't own that car. That's not his.
No, that was a spare car that he's rented for this one because his car had some damage. Valen Venkatesh still in the car.
Jack Yang saying nothing to Sam McDougall, and nobody's saying anything to Valen.
Well, there's not. I mean, by the body language, everyone just dejected. There doesn't seem to be too much, if you like, discussion about who was at fault.
Sure.
So perhaps all of them.
And was Mason a key part of that
right.
situation?
I wonder whether they were just all innocent bystanders to some extent. Dave Mason's car.
Out of the car. Ugh. So many.
Dave Mason's got damage on both the front and the rear as well. So perhaps he was again.
Was he pushed? Was he hit from behind and then pushed into somebody? Tough to say at the moment, but
so 7 minutes remain. Certainly a lot of dejected racing drivers on the side of the circuit at the exit of turn 7.
Do they have enough recovery equipment to get 3 cars off the track in 6 minutes?
I think that's going to be a task. I mean, the other question is, are some of those cars drivable, or, you know, are there corners hanging on by threads?
This is pretty remarkable, but if you look at the Pro 1500 class, do we have 3 cars running?
Yeah, well, Matt Roma sits in second, so he's okay.
Because if Valen is considered...
I think Valen Venkatesh might find himself on the podium.
Which would be a wild spot to find yourself after a 4-car...
Now, ironically, of course, from that overhead shot, Sam McDougall's car's ahead of Valen Venkatesh. But, of course, the last time they crossed the line...
There we go. Yeah,
so what was the last time they crossed the line? That'll be the interesting one.
Right, and do we do it by sectors, or is it at the start?
I think it would be the start-finish line. It's about number of laps completed. So that's a good question, though, Mike. I do think that what we're seeing on screen is accurate. That
someone in that pile-up, whether Venkatesh, McDougall, or Yang, is going to have a brighter afternoon after this gets sorted through the administrative efforts of race control.
So Dermot Ennis back in the pit lane. So I think they're deciding that they've got to keep him circulating. And the team has sent Dermot around and back into pit lane.
Yeah.
So they've been working without going a lap down. So understanding that if this does go again, they've just got to make sure that he stays at least on the lap that he was on. Jonas Axbo has survived the mayhem. It would appear, for the moment, this could be a hat-trick of wins for Axbo to continue his streak of success here in the Radical Cup Series. Definitely a young driver to keep an eye on for the future. Jonas Axbo just seems like he's on a trajectory for this championship. Of course, his biggest rival, one of the first Pro 1500s to, come a cropper around here at the top of turn 3, and that was Luke Kendall with a big accident. In fact, that led to the full course caution that then has resulted, as often happens, in another full course caution.
Yellows breed yellows, don't they? And I'll tell you, a big winner here is a guy named Chris Hoon, who by merit is in P2 in 1500s. He's leading the gold class. He will win that class if we finish under caution. But what a nice day for him to actually find himself legit P2 cars that are powered by a 1500.
Well, the other one that has come through this melee is Omar Balkazoon, finds himself on the podium. So both Balkazoons will be on the podium, in theory, after this one. Yeah, Dermot Ennis, that's quite remarkable, actually. Even with that damage and running through pit lane,
multiple pit stops.
Dermot Ennis has remained in second place.
And the field has taken the white flag at the starter stand, so this will be it. Still have to circulate, for sure. You got to cross the finish line here, finish the race, so we don't expect any weirdness to go on here, but you do have to bring the car home. So just under 3 minutes to go, and we're not going to see any more on-track passing.
I've got to say, it's been a wild weekend here at Road Atlanta, really, you know, as a result of the weather. Race 1, a drying circuit, the cars dealing with tricky conditions early on and throughout that race. Race 2, a tremendously wet race, and drivers generally doing very, very well to survive the conditions. Of course, a couple of mishaps. And race 3, whilst we've had a drier track, certainly the grass and the edge of the circuit's very unforgiving, and I think we've seen the curbing take its toll today.
It's a tough racing track, what Atlanta is, isn't it? It just collects a lot of cars.
It does, but like it's got the best rhythm. I think this circuit is just a wonderful place to drive. The roller coaster that is Road Atlanta is spectacular. The rhythm that you get in, particularly down through these S's, and as you set up for turn 5, trundle over that wide rumble strip and hope that the car dances and doesn't dive into the inside wall. There's all sorts of elements of this circuit that just provide a pretty big grin when you've got the helmet on. And Mike Anzaldi, speaking of that, when are you next behind the wheel?
Well, we're hoping Rhino Racing heads to Austin, Texas later on in the season, the last race of the year. Hoping to hop behind the seat of our 61 XXR car and do what we can down there. We're pretty quick down the straights, so would love to bring some competition toward Chris Hoon and Dennis Kelly, Omar Balkazoon, Folger, Mason in the gold class there. So that's our plan for the moment. Just sorry to see all of this activity down in the turn 7. Ending this race and bringing the weekend to a close, but there's probably more than a handful of folks that are happy to see this wrap up and put the cars in the trailer. There's been so much drama this weekend, from transporting cars to and from shops to the trailer, or rather to the racetrack, weather, the racetrack, race incidents, car damage. It's just been a very eventful weekend. And
a tough weekend, yeah, sort of for the crews in general, because it's been a very condensed weekend. Lots of track time for the drivers. Of course, a big day of testing on Thursday. 3 sessions were scheduled for yesterday. We had to abandon qualifying due to the weather.
First time I've seen that in my career in the Radical Cup. Been in there for 8 years. Never seen a quali session have to be scrapped.
But 2 good races yesterday. But as you say, like the teams have been working into the night. An early start here at Road Atlanta before a big endurance race for the World Racing League, and they're setting up on pit lane as Robert Rossi will contemplate yet another win. He trundles slowly towards the finish line. And his 3rd victory from 3 starts here at Road Atlanta. Robert Rossi doing it again for Giant Racing.
Jonas Axpo. What a weekend at Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta for Axpo.
So the class winner, Robert Rossi, the Platinum class, he leads the points. He's extended the points lead by a tremendous amount this weekend, and looking as cool as anything. Jonas Axpo, another one that has done the job, 3 for 3, and Jonas now absolutely cementing a grip on the championship. Chris Hoon taking another win. World champ in the gold class from VIR last year continues his run of success. And Mike D'Ambrose back on top of the box here at Road Atlanta. Mike D'Ambrose had to forego a win for young Nico Balkazoon. We wondered whether Balkazoon would make it 2 for 2 or in the end today, but as you can see, he hasn't. Robert Rossi finishing ahead of Steve Jenks and Judd Miller in the platinum class. Wayne Williams and Chip Roma rounding out the top 5.
Williams would have loved another lap or two.
Yeah, amazing how they all ended up line astern after that one. In Pro 1500, it was Matt Roma who's come home with a second. Matt on the podium. Significantly, Valen Venkatesh, impressive too. Sam McDougall, Jack Yang, Luke Kendall, all having mishaps. Venkatesh too, but of course Venkatesh classified in third. In the gold class, Dennis Kelly finds himself in second place. Omar Balkazoon on the podium. And as we mentioned, he'll be joined in the winner's circle for the Pro 1340s by his son, who finishes in third place. Just ahead, Dermot Ennis, who was successfully negotiating the full course cautions whilst repairing the car.
Attaboy, Derm.
Mike D'Ambrose taking a win, as we mentioned. Ryan George, who might have an investigation after this race for a potential pass under yellow, finishing fourth.
Too bad for Ziegler. He didn't get to run very much, had problems with his car, but wow, what an absolute banger of a weekend, Tom.
Well, we go from one iconic racetrack to the next. Road Atlanta this weekend. In 2 weeks' time, we'll be at Lime Rock Park up in Connecticut. It's always a fun one, an aggressive little racetrack. The Bull Ring in the Berkshires will play host to the penultimate round of the Radical Cup, and then it's off to COTA for experience of the lifetime, the first time that Radical Cup Racing has supported a World Championship event, the World Endurance Championship at Circuit of the Americas. And what a crescendo to the championship that will be. Of course, a big night of celebration to come after that one at the Proper Hotel in Austin. Well, Mike Canzaldi, once again, it's been a pleasure. I'm Tom Drewer, and that has been the Radical Cup North America Series from Road Atlanta.
Thanks for joining us so long.